Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. Burning hot. Gentle moonlight scattered down, turning their clothes into ashes. However, no disaster befell them, as nothing else dangerous happened. They could feel that this green moon was extremely peaceful, not releasing any terrifying auras. Yu Chan's tall and slender figure was pure white and sparkling like ivory. Her beautiful black hair scattered downwards, covering a portion of her unmatched appearance. She immediately stood above the debris, her figure immortal and beautiful, fair and radiating a soft, gentle radiance. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chahao's body was not tainted by a strand of silk. His clothes were completely burned by the ancient flames, revealing his robust build. Precious splendor flickered about, and his black hair scattered down. His eyes were brilliant like stellar rivers. On the immortal ancient ruins, the two looked at each other. They weren't far from each other, so they could see everything. This sudden change happened too abruptly. When he saw Yu Chan's expression changed and was about to scream out, Chahao shouted out first, saying, "Not good, be careful." In addition, he rushed over with the fastest speed, blocking the green moonlight. He arrived in front of Yu Chan to half embrace her sparkling white body. The two were just too close to each other, and he could smell the waves of delicate fragrance of a young lady. It spread under the moonlight, pervading the air. This was a type of intoxicating fragrance. This all happened too abruptly. The sacred and serene Yu Chan found it difficult to maintain her calmness as well. Her beautiful face turned pale. She released a light cry and quickly backed up. What left Yu Chan speechless was that Chahao continued to act devoted to righteousness, displaying the Kuanpeng technique and earth withdrawal technique to their pinnacle, and sticking right to her, and standing right there. "Stay a bit further away from me." Yu Chan's fair face immediately blushed, carrying embarrassment and resentment, as she berated with a low voice. This was just too embarrassing. They had just arrived, yet this kind of situation happened. The most hateful things was that this fella's face was thick to a ridiculous degree. He looked serious, but he was walking shoulder to shoulder with her, holding her sparkling waist. Her body was trembling, and her beautiful eyes were widened in anger. "There's no way I will allow you to be in danger. With me here, you won't be harmed in the slightest." Chahao's expression remained unchanged as he said loudly. He also tightened that arm, wrapping it around her small waist. The two were almost sticking together. "You scoundrel, thick-faced black-hearted person, hurry up and let go." Yu Chan berated. A layer of goosebumps appeared on her body and her cheeks became red. This situation really left others embarrassed. "Who needs your protection?" Yu Chan felt like her face was definitely completely red now, because she felt a hot sensation. These two were incredibly close and just too intimate right now. She could feel the heat of his arm around her waist, as well as how dishonest that hand was. It held her pure white waist, and it even pinched down. With a shio sound, Yu Chan was like a holy arrow that went off course, causing even the void to distort. She moved out several hundred jong to free herself from that arm and stay as far away from Chahao as she could. However, what left her shocked was that Chahao's speed exceeded the past, reaching an inconceivable level. He continued to stay right beside her. In that instant, the magical artifact in Chahao's hands snapped, turning into metal liquid. One has to understand that this was the divine whip he seized from the roaming bandits of Fire Province, a divine-level precious artifact. However, it couldn't even take a single hit, quickly being refined and falling onto the ground, turning into waste material. All of its bone texts were wiped out. Meanwhile, Yu Chan was shocked as well. The magical clothes on her body distorted and changed shape. If not for her reaction speed being extremely fast, her entire body would have been refined as well. She freed herself from the armor, separating from it. This time, Chahao was serious and not teasing. He blocked in front of Yu Chan, with a serious expression, with his back towards her, facing that green moon alone. However, after the two beams of light disappeared, the green moon became peaceful again, not releasing any dangerous aura. It really was confusing. What is going on? Chahao said to himself. Yu Chan was incredibly shocked as well. Currently, her body was absolutely perfect, without a trace of silk on her, snow white and sparkling. It made her feel extremely uncomfortable. Could it be that the green moon is helping us become one? Chahao turned around to look at Yu Chan. "What are you randomly spouting?" Yu Chan rolled her eyes and stared hatefully at him. As for her wonderful body, it was even more curvaceous and close to perfection. Her chest was tall and full, her waist small and elegant, her legs perfectly straight and long. Her body was snow white. This was an alarming scene without any flaws. It was close to perfection, one that would easily make one absent-minded. Yu Chan glared at him. This was just too unrestrained, actually staring at her body without end, making her humiliated and angry. However, there was nothing she could do, because this was the critical moment of acquiring that flame. In addition, right at this moment, what was the most unbearable for her was that this fella even went in for another blow. This is sexual harassment. Don't just look at me, hurry and acquire the immortal ancient precious flame. Shahao spoke with a deadly earnest expression. Who is looking at you? Yu Chan was indignant, appearing quite different from her usual pure and untainted fairy style. It was as if an immortal fell into the world of mortals. With a cough, Shahao began to move out his tall and robust body, saying to himself, it can't be helped. My style is exceptional, so not even heaven-mending sex fairy can hold herself back. She can only be drawn in. At this moment, divine multicolored light seeped out from Yu Chan's eyes, and the roots of her teeth felt sore. She truly wanted to put him down and viciously beat him up. It's coming. Shahao reminded. The green moon fell, gradually approaching Yu Chan's sparkling white body, illuminating her brilliantly. It suspended above her head and released a gentle feeling. She was going to succeed soon. Yu Chan focused her attention. Her red lips gently opened, starting to chant the sacrificial language to communicate with the green moon and establish a close connection. It was effective. Yu Chan is about to succeed. Will I be able to acquire that extremely mysterious ancient flame as well? Shahao said to himself, feeling rather expectant. Of course, the beautiful scene in front of him was similarly something to look forward to. He wasn't willing to pass up on this chance. 10 feet, 9 feet, 8 feet. The green moon descended, appearing like a colored glaze sphere that illuminated the world. It radiated resplendent splendor as it slowly approached the two individuals below. At this moment, Shahao became serious, no longer playing around. There was even less of a need to talk about Yu Chan. At first, they could feel a sense of warmth, but later on, there was a burning pain that tore at their flesh and bones. Right now, it felt as if one's blood was burning and spilling out from their pores. Yu Chan's body was originally spotlessly white like ivory, but currently, there was a faint layer of blood energy that was quickly spreading, burning like innate essence. This was extremely dangerous, with a single mishap resulting in becoming a lump of flame, one that would leave nothing but ashes behind. It was because this was the green lunar flame, one that powerful individuals knew about since the ancient times. It was rumored to be an exceptional ancient flame that was left behind by a true immortal, something not even the heavenly deities of the ancient past could stop. It was unknown just how many of them were burned to death by these flames. One couldn't forcefully face it head-on, as it was impossible to resist. One had to communicate with it and establish a stable and contractual relationship, or else they would undoubtedly die. Yu Chan was divine and perfect. Her lips were rosy, releasing symbols. She was chanting the immortal ancient sacrificial language, and resonating with that green lunar flame to become one with it. The green moon descended, now less than 5 feet from Yu Chan's head. This distance was just too close. Meanwhile, she was not injured further by this, and on the contrary, her condition improved much better. Shahao couldn't help but sigh. One truly couldn't compare themselves to another. The first ancient flame he saw was precisely the green lunar flame, yet he was almost drowned in fiery light, forcing him to leave. Yet now, Yu Chan was about to succeed. If news of this got out, it would definitely shake the world under the heavens. One has to understand that this type of ancient flame was related to true flames. It was the most precious and rarely seen type. If one used it to achieve divinity, it would display the most shocking transformation, granting one limitless potential. 4 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet. The green moon approached, becoming more and more gentle and peaceful. Everything seemed to have already been settled and on the verge of succeeding. Suddenly, Yu Chan's body trembled. When the green moon was only a foot away from her, the flame produced a sudden change. There was a void figure that could vaguely be seen, and then it began to flourish with brilliance again. At this moment, Yu Chan was completely unmoving, only her mouth was releasing sound. The green lunar splendor surrounded her body. She looked extremely calm and peaceful without joy or worry. Shahao was extremely nervous. If an accident happened, then the result wouldn't be merely a failure to obtain the flame, but rather destruction of both mind and body, turning into nothingness. He didn't know how to help her right now. He didn't dare rashly take action out of fear of affecting that lunar brilliance. Suddenly, Shahao's expression froze. He saw a figure within the green moon, an elegant and tall woman that stood within the moonlight. It was as if a true immortal had reincarnated. This is goddess Qingyu. Xiahao was shocked, finding it hard to believe. How could this kind of figure appear? He had previously asked Qi Daolin, inquiring if anything strange would happen upon facing these rare ancient flames. Back then, he received the reply that he didn't need to worry, that it had long become unrelated to the past true immortal. However, how did a human figure appear before his eyes? This ancient flame was not normal. Suddenly, Yu Chen released a light groan. She was enduring tremendous pain. Her body was trembling, almost unable to hold on any longer. Xiahao shouted, using his arm to shake off the flames and scatter the moonlight. He wanted to pull Yu Chen out and free her from this disastrous situation. Yu Chan's figure was blurry, already suffering severe damage. Her eyes had long grew dim. However, when she saw Xiahao try to save her at this moment, there was still a bit of brilliance. She said quietly, "You should hurry and leave, don't be foolish." This was the flame of a true immortal. Forget about a supreme expert, even if a group of the most powerful deities were here, they would only die. They weren't its opponent at all. Xiahao didn't bother speaking too much to her. His arm penetrated the barrier of light, dragged her out with one movement, and then he quickly retreated. However, that green moon followed, continuing to scatter its green holy splendor around Yu Chen, not retreating at all. It was about to completely refine her flesh. At this moment, Xiao's arm was under intense pain, feeling as if his bones had been burned through. At the very least, his flesh was withering away. However, if anyone else were here, they would definitely be shocked. What was this shoddy-looking armor? It unexpectedly stopped the fire's power, not allowing it to immediately burn him away. The flame left behind by a true immortal cannot be contended against. Yu Chan's eyes carried radiance as she looked at Xiahao. It seemed like she wanted to say something, but only this sentence came out in the end. She forcefully pushed him away. At this moment, even her soul was being set aflame. Forget about her fine skin and sparkling bones, even her life was already reaching its limit. Meanwhile, this was because the green moon hadn't truly gone berserk yet, the result of only scattering down moonlight. Otherwise, she would have directly been burned into ashes. That green moon wrapped around her, following her relentlessly. This time, it was even more complete, surrounding her head. Both of them linked up together. In addition, King Qiong's sounds rang out continuously. That tattered armor was blasted loose, separating from Yu Chan's indistinct figure and falling out. It couldn't protect her. Xiahao decisively brought out the pill furnace, deciding he was going to risk it all. Otherwise, Yu Chen wouldn't have any chance left and would have both her body and spirit wiped out. "You don't come over." These were the last words Yu Chan's willpower could squeeze out. Her emotions were complex as she watched Xiahao in the distance. She raised her indistinct arm and gently waved, "Absolute nonsense. You are my wife, so I naturally have to save you." Xiahao tossed out the pill furnace to releasing the lightning with immortal Dao aura, as well as that yellow earth. He was using everything he had. Moreover, he rushed over himself to guide the green moon away. Yu Chen opened her mouth, but she couldn't utter any words. Her divine senses weren't working as she wished. Yu Chan's weak aura became stronger. Her blurry body reappeared, and like a phoenix undergoing rebirth while bathed in flames, an exuberant wave of vitality swept outwards. Within that gentle sphere of brilliance, a spotlessly white and sparkling immortal body gradually appeared. Yu Chen reappeared, her body reconstructed. She was reborn. Xiahao was shocked. The space between Yu Chan's brows was shining. The imprint that was suspected to be immortal Dao divine projection formed a void figure. It was as if a girl was dancing about, unexpectedly communicating with the woman within the green moon. Yu Chen stood there, the space between her brows shining brilliantly. A woman was dancing about there. Even though it was small and was just a projection, it was vivid and lifelike. This was quite strange. The area between her brows was actually this special. Regardless, she was unharmed. This made Xiahao release a breath of relief. They finally made it through this disaster. Yu Chan's figure was tall, pure white and sparkling. It was unexpectedly just as good as before, and even her fine black hair became more brilliant. Her entire being exuded a type of life force. Above her head, that green moon was still changing, gradually becoming larger. The immortal projection within became more and more clear, as if it towered above the clouds. It was as if a true immortal was about to descend. Bo. She scattered apart like an illusion, turning into a multicolored haze and merging with the green moon. In the end, the entire green moon turned into a lump of flame that surrounded Yu Chan. It was exceptionally peaceful without any blazing heat. The green lunar flame changed, no longer injuring Yu Chan, and instead surrounding her. Shahao was shocked. This flame left behind by the true immortal unexpectedly became so gentle, turning into female clothing that covered Yu Chan's body, protecting her within. Yu Chan was calm, her eyes bright and clear, flickering with an intelligent radiance. She completely calmed down. She chanted sacrificial language from her mouth, establishing a mysterious contractual relationship. She then succeeded. There seemed to be green precious clothes flickering about her body. The ancient flame became a long dress, beautiful and divine, but also a type of metallic feeling as it flickered with sparkling radiance. It gave Yu Chan a unique type of beautiful aesthetic. It can even turn into battle armor. Shahao was shocked. He always felt like the green lunar flame was a bit different. It seemed to agree especially well with Yu Chan. Yu Chan gathered her beautiful hair and smiled faintly. It was as if a divine moon was releasing its splendor, making her appear even more sacred and otherworldly than before, granting her a sense of spirituality. I meant what I said, while your Tao heart has to be steady as well. Shahao was shocked. Then, he laughed and said, "Are you talking about that agreement?" "Yes." Yu Chan nodded. "When did you become so generous and carefree?" Shahao was shocked. Yu Chan said softly, "After experiencing the great battle of 3,000 provinces, even if you fail, if you calm down your heart and gradually accumulate wisdom, there will definitely be a day when you will rise up and achieve great things." When Shahao heard this, the expression on his face immediately became wide. Turns out the so-called agreement was made because she thought he would definitely fail, telling him that he should earnestly comprehend the Tao instead. "Yu Chan, I just saved you, yet you are now looking down on me so much." Yu Chan shook her head and said, "I feel that with your natural talents, you will definitely become a glorious figure in this world. You shouldn't divide your attention, and should instead focus on cultivation. The reason why we are what we are is because of all types of emotions. If one did what you said and focused on cultivation while neglecting other things, they will miss out on many things along the way." Shahao didn't agree with her. Yu Chan said softly, "Those that enjoy worldly things, even if their appearances are exceptional, there will still be a day when they will return to the great earth. There should be some greater pursuit, one that transcends this mortal world." Geniuses with great potential formed a faint connection with these rare precious flames precisely for that moment. The road ahead, realization, great Tao, these are the things the rare precious flame created, right? Comprehending the Tao from the foundation, and stepping onto one's own path. Shahao said to himself, "I'm not sure. The ancient flames are suspected to have been left behind by true immortals. If one uses it as a Tao seed, as tinder, one will naturally be able to reach greater heights." Yu Chan said, "Why do you have to use them as a tinder? Can't one use themselves as the Tao seed?" At this moment, Shahao seemed to have thought of something. He became a bit unsure about the so-called igniting a divine flame. Yu Chan was shocked. The rare ancient flames are left behind by the true immortals after they pass away, and can also be called immortal seeds. With them as the Tao seed, it will naturally pave the way ahead, bringing transcendence and hope. Rather than doing it like this, I would rather use a single grain of sand, a stalk of grass, a tree, a mountain, and other tangible objects to use as reference, using the entire mountains, rivers, heaven, earth, sun, moon, and stars as my tinder. I would rather plant my Tao that way." Shahao said. Yu Chan revealed a look of shock and said, "What are you trying to do then? Not going to use an ancient flame and directly ignite the self? Is that not okay?" Shahao asked. Yu Chan said, "Many people couldn't find rare precious flames and use other divine flames to ignite themselves, and there are even more who cannot even obtain any divine flames so they could only rely on themselves. Then that is to say, the most ordinary people are like me, and only they would do this?" Shahao asked. "Correct." Yu Chan nodded. "Why do I feel like this is the correct path then?" Shahao said softly. "Then," he said, "then should I acquire an ancient flame first, study it thoroughly, and then do it that way. During the immortal ancient era, when one speaks about natural laws, discusses the Tao, if there are shocking things, there would occasionally be heavenly lightning that would descend. In the present world, there is already no longer any heavenly tribulation. Just now, how could it have?" Yu Chan said to herself. There was divine multicolored light in her eyes as she looked at Shahao. Shahao was truly depressed. He was blasted by lightning for no reason, making him quite pissed. "We're leaving." He hung his head and said. This was just too embarrassing, being blasted by the heavens for no reason. It really was weird. Yu Chan wanted to laugh, but she endured it, treating it like nothing happened. Of course, she didn't forget to philosophically add that only by acting properly will the heavens protect us. Shahao's face went red. He didn't want to stay here a second later. Then, they returned to where Goddess Academy was. A large bell was ringing. It rang throughout heaven and earth. It's the Academy's Dao bell. What happened for it to be sounded? Yu Chan revealed a look of shock. Normally, only major events would trigger this bell sound. At the same time, bell sounds rang from the distance as well, shaking heaven and earth. It was remote and drawn out. It seems to be coming from Kuan province. Yu Chan discovered. This place bordered on Goddess, Fire, and Kuan provinces. Its location was quite special. That day, long and drawn-out bell sounds tore through the thousands of mountains and tens of thousands of waters, reaching from the mountains to flourishing great cities, from the arid great deserts to the boundless ocean shores. The world under the heavens was shaken up. Many people knew that the battle of the higher realms' geniuses was about to begin. A time of great glory was about to descend. This was the result of tens of thousands of sects conversing with each other, the greatest gathering of great sects. They all participated in this matter, and their sects' great bells sounded. It was the same as informing the entire world. From that day forth, everyone could begin to look forward to the great competition. The Dao bells were long and drawn out as they resounded through heaven and earth, reminding geniuses in isolation that they needed to make their preparations. They couldn't miss out on this great battle, an opportunity that the entire world was keeping their eyes on. Goddess Academy was naturally bustling with activity as well. Many people cried out in alarm, and sounds of discussion could be heard everywhere. You should go back. If there is something, I will look for you. Shahao said, and then he didn't enter the academy. Otherwise, he might be surrounded from all sides. The moment Yu Chan glanced backwards, her beauty was unmatched. She turned back into Qingyi, waved towards Shahao, and then entered the academy. The two could be considered to both be facing trials and tribulations together, so there wasn't much thanks that needed to be said between them. From that day forth, all young supreme beings under the heavens all began to make preparations. The road ahead would definitely be difficult. Shahao needed to carefully think about how he was going to win in the great battle. You returned. From your dejected and depressed looks, you definitely failed. Outside the mountain gate, Qi Daolin opened his eyes and gave him a look, succeeded, but gave it to someone else. Shahao didn't hide this, saying it as it was. Qi Daolin's mouth opened. What exactly was this youngster thinking? He even gave the green lunar flame away. Was this extreme generosity or stupidity? You idiot, for the sake of a woman, you even gifted away a world-shaking ancient flame. What do you treat it as? That is one of the world's greatest treasures, known as an immortal seed. How many sect masters have looked for them throughout the eras yet were unable to find any? Qi Daolin battered him with criticism. Shahao retorted. Who am I? Do I need to chase after a girl? Go cultivate the 8th heavens art. Qi Daolin shouted, feeling upset that Shahao didn't meet his expectations. He didn't want to see him act so careless, so he had him run around with the great mountain. Dao Master, why don't you teach me your techniques? Carrying the mountain on my back and running all day, when others see this, it's just too humiliating. Shahao grumbled, feeling extremely discontent. You haven't met the requirements yet. Only when your flesh, bone texts, and spirit all become one with no distinctions between will it be enough. Qi Daolin spoke with a downcast face, and then he blasted Shahao flying. He also grabbed a large mountain with a single movement, tossing it onto his back. The earth quaked and mountains shook. Shahao left into the distance with the great mountain on his back. Even though he was extremely discontent, he couldn't contradict this elder in front of his face. He truly feared that this infamous old man might kick him out due to a foul mood. The great bells of sects all over the 3,000 province sounded. From this day forth, all geniuses would move out in preparation of joining the great battle. During these final days of preparation, some people sat quietly in meditation, some refined precious artifacts, while others came out of isolation to exchange pointers with others, using this to adjust their own vital energies. Goddess Academy was well known, a place almost everyone in the higher realms knew about. They naturally had many dealings with other great sects, so in the following days, there were many guests that arrived. Yi, Nine-Headed Snake Clan, Yin Yang Academy, Oblique Moon Ancient Cave, and Holy Feather Clan's elites have arrived. There were students that cried in surprise. These were all great sects, or enormous clans. During these days, all sects' outstanding disciples came and went, discussing the Tao with each other and exchanging pointers. They were all adjusting their condition. In addition, because they were bordering the Fire Province, a chaotic place where divine materials emerged, the young disciples of various sects were sent over to protect the mines. It was a mix of fish and dragons. There were many geniuses, with visitors coming from everywhere. In the past few days, Shahao suffered without being able to complain, forced by Qi Daolin to carry the mountain on his back. This mountain had a seal stuck on it that made it 10 times heavier. What exactly is the Dao seed? He was thinking about his own path while running frantically. Now that he was close to the divine flame realm, he needed to cross the crucial step. During these past few days, he was always bitterly cultivating in Fire Province's savannah, because this place was extremely vast. He ran while carrying the great mountain, with no obstacles in his way. It was also precisely because of this that he was able to think about other matters. Yi, our luck really is good. Look, that divine mountain appeared again. A group of people appeared on the horizon. They looked at the moving enormous mountain, all of them revealing looks of shock. It doesn't seem quite right. This shouldn't be some expert's magical treasure, right? For example, an earth-overturning imprint that turned into a mountain form, running about crazily. Some people were doubtful. On the mountain, ancient trees towered into the skies. There were symbols flickering about as well. The atmosphere was extremely unordinary. If it truly is a precious artifact, it is an ownerless object. It developed intelligence, and that's why it's running about crazily. Everyone discussed this among themselves as they quickly chased after it. They were going to observe it in more detail, because many of them were curious. Yi, it's going berserk, going to smash into a mountain ridge. Right at this moment, someone cried out in alarm. There were mountains on the savannah as well. For example, there was a mountain ridge before them. That enormous peak was still running crazily, smashing its way over. In reality, Shahao had become distracted. He was thinking about how to plant his Dao, how he was going to rise up when achieving divinity, and step onto his own path. The result of this was that he smashed into the mountain ridge ahead of him while carrying the enormous mountain. The earth quaked and mountains shook, causing him to be buried underneath. With a hula sound, Goddess Academy's people surrounded it. They were all excited as they stared at the great mountain covered in smoke and dust. Shahao coughed. He climbed out with his head and face covered with grime. He complained inwardly about his bad luck. I heard that Celestial Clan lusted after his precious technique, and as a result bit the hand that fed them. Right at this moment, Qingyi spoke. Her expression was quiet and indifferent, her eyes clear. Just a rumor. This is slandering my clan. You'll understand if you just ask around in Devil or Heaven Province. Kuan Mo said. Then, he added, my clan's #1 expert Yu, as well the later risen up heavenly talent Yun 11 will be looking around in Fire Province's ancient mines soon. If you all don't believe me, you can ask them. In reality, Celestial Clan was extremely dishonorable. Kuan Mo didn't want to speak too much on this issue, and as such changed the topic. Is that so? Then I'm looking forward to it. Qingyi spoke, or in other words, Yu Chan did. She seemed to be implying something. Yu is going to come. Many people were moved, because this was the Celestial Clan's #1 genius, a true exceptional talent. His talent was exceptional. In addition, one has to understand that the Celestial Clan used to be an unmatched emperor clan. Just how powerful was an exceptional talent that came from this ancient sect? It was unfathomable. The most important thing was that he merged with the Heaven's Mandate Stone, which was equivalent to a type of transcendence. He could overlook all of his peers. Correct, Brother Yu should be coming, Kuan Mo said. His face revealed a faint smile that was a bit aloof. After all, Yu's name was well known in all directions. When the geniuses from these various sects heard this, their expressions all changed. He was the descendant of an emperor race, merged with the Heaven's Mandate Stone, and was even an exceptional talent. So many people predicted that Yu's future accomplishments would most likely surpass that of the archaic 6 great celestials. Sooner or later, this would become one of the taboo existences that ruled the higher realms. Brother Yu is exceptional, and I have long heard of him. If I ever get the chance to meet him, it would truly be an honor. Someone praised, seeing the Celestial Clan's heavenly genius quite favorably. Right. I heard that Brother Yu already started to evolve his unique precious technique, and that it was absolutely stunning. When the time comes, I definitely have to ask him for guidance. Someone added. The others all nodded as well, speaking praise. When Kuan Mo heard this, he revealed a smile and said, we already said that this person has an undeserved reputation. If senior sister Feng Wu took action, she would definitely easily suppress him. Feng Wu gave him a look and then said, I know about his accomplishments. He killed Underworld Child, Sun God Vine, and even cooked the Purple Golden who races genius in a cauldron, directly eating it. When these words were spoken, the smile on Kuan Mo's face directly froze. This was the same as giving him a huge slap to the face. One has to understand that all 3 that Feng Wu mentioned were exceptional talents, yet they all died while nursing grievances. This type of battle accomplishment was enough to prove Huang's powerful strength. Many people revealed looks of surprise. They looked at Kuan Mo, feeling embarrassed for him. This really was hard to take. Senior Sister Feng Wu is just telling things as it is. Also, didn't this information spread throughout the outside world for a while already? Yu Chan, who was currently Qing Yi, calmly said, "Everyone, let's just end it here. I am going to cultivate in isolation." Feng Wu stood up. She nodded towards Qing Yi with a smile, and then she left. Everyone stood up as well. They all knew that she was a well-known exceptional talent, and right now she was comprehending the human immortal engravings, so time was precious. She wanted to rise up in the battle of 3,000 provinces. Even though the remaining sect elites didn't scatter, they lacked the enthusiasm to talk further. Suddenly, there was disorder within the academy, and even the experts in the palace could sense it. They couldn't help but reveal looks of shock. What happened? The disciple of that shoddy mountain gate wounded the academy's senior brothers. Soon after, everyone roughly understood what happened. They were immediately interested, heading outwards to learn of the details. Even the disciple of a small shoddy sect dares to do this, provoking our celestial clan. Does he not want to live any longer? Kuan Mo's face fell. They were one of the higher realm's great clans, and others normally wouldn't dare confront them. He was quite unhappy in the palace to begin with, and now he encountered this type of thing. So he was naturally angered. Where is he? I am going to that sect to demand an explanation. Kuan Mo had this type of confidence. After all, he did have the reputation of being one of the celestial race's 6 heroes. If it was just a small sect, he believed that even though their sect elders would be stronger than him, they would still have second thoughts, eventually welcoming him with a smiling face. After all, he represented the celestial clan. The other sect's elites all revealed looks of surprise. They knew that Kuan Mo was going to oppress others with force, and he was most likely going to ask that sect to hand over the one who injured his clansman, senior brother. That person is not simple. The cultivator from Celestial Clan that was seriously injured had a snow-white face, and his entire body was covered in cold sweat. He wanted to explain something. However, he directly went unconscious, unable to say anything further. Yu Chan's expression was calm. In reality, it is her who secretly took action to make this person faint. Who can tell me where that small sect is? I am going to pay that sect a visit. Kuan Mo said coldly. He looked towards the other disciples from Goddess Academy who were injured. He felt restraining fear towards Feng Wu, but he was extremely self-confident against these people. The Celestial Clan was one of the most powerful inheritances, and as one of the 6 great heroes, he naturally looked down on most of his peers. Outside the group, Yu Chan was elegant and graceful. She revealed a faint smile, but didn't say anything. Along the way, Kuan Mo's eyes were malicious. He was going to directly put on the big hat and demand that sect to hand that person over, using Celestial Race's great power to suppress it. From his perspective, the Celestial Clan, even if not as great as before, being expelled from the ranks of Emperor races, it was still not something ordinary sects could challenge, let alone a small sect. This root even has weeds growing everywhere. It really is barren. It seems like this inheritance has already declined, its backing not powerful enough. Yin Yang Academy's elite disciple said, correct, it has already fallen for several thousand years, about to become a broken inheritance. Recently, it produced another disciple. One of Goddess Academy's wounded senior brothers said. When Kuan Mo heard this, he became even more filled with confidence. This place was even less than an ordinary small sect. The disciple of this poor inheritance even dared to injure Celestial Clan's disciple. It truly filled his chest with anger. The other great sect's people revealed shock. This sect really was ridiculously weak. Then, everyone believed that this sect definitely declined to a serious degree, because the mountain road was rugged and covered with weeds and thorny undergrowth. Where would one find the scene of a sect? This was clearly a part of the wilderness. We are almost there, it is just up ahead. Goddess Academy's people led the way. Kuan Mo became more angry the longer he walked, his face sinking like water. What kind of rotten place was this? For this kind of small sect to injure his clansman, it was simply an enormous humiliation. They finally arrived. At the mountain gate, a tattered decorated archway still managed to stand. As for the other places, there was debris everywhere. Weeds flourished everywhere. This was a sect. It was clearly just ruins and remains. Everyone became speechless upon seeing this. They naturally saw the true scene, not the magnificent place Shahao had seen before. Kuan Mo immediately seethed with anger. If today's matters got out, it would make them a laughing stock. This was the sect that he was going to criticize harshly. Youngster, do you know who you are talking to? Call out your elders. I have things to discuss with him. Kuan Mo said coldly. Even though he was furious and resentful, there were still people from various sects behind him, so he didn't want to act too excessive. He treated Shahao with great arrogance and a stance of looking down from high above, ordering him like this. Shahao's face darkened even further. He was forced by that old man to carry a large mountain crazily on his back, tiring him half to death, and now that he came back, he still couldn't get any peace and quiet, meeting someone who spoke to him like this. How could he tolerate this? In reality, he didn't notice at all that this was an expert from Celestial Clan, because they were similar to humans. Otherwise, his face would darken even further. Despite this being the case, Shahao still forced his way over. You still aren't going to quickly call out your sect elder? Did you not hear me? Are you deaf? I have something to say to him. Kuan Mo berated with an attitude like a great saint that was high above. In the rear, the other sect's geniuses were all watching from the sidelines like they were watching a play. Only Goddess Academy people's faces were strange, their fine hairs standing on end. They held their breaths, feeling extremely nervous. However, they had previously received Qingyi's message, so they couldn't say too much. One has to understand that this was one of the Celestial Clan's 6 heroes, but he was being toyed with like a doll, swung around until he was almost unrecognizable. Moreover, this was all done with brute force. This truly left this group of people terrified. Who exactly is this fella? Shahao flung this deformed Kuan Mo onto the ground and asked Goddess Academy's people. The group of people were stupefied. This was just too violent. He was only asking now. Kuan Mo's entire body was in intense pain, and he was so embarrassed he was going to faint. He was the glorious celestial race's heroic talent, yet he wasn't even given a second look by the disciple of a small sect, only having his identity inquired about after he was beaten up. This was just too shameful. Do you know who I am? What clan I came from? He was so angry his voice was shaking. He endured the pain and shouted loudly, "What clan did you come from?" Shahao's face darkened as he asked. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.